All right, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, at 3-5, no one expected Cincinnati to be here. Let's be totally honest. The season has not gone up to this point the way everyone thought it would for Cincinnati. And to that end, it looks like, led by Joe Burrow and some key leaders on this team, they're making a lineup change, or at least pointers are heading that direction. And I think it's a good move both for the rest of the season and for the future as well. Good news out of Cincinnati. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this Bengals team, like I alluded to at the very beginning, mainly on the back of some inconsistent offensive play and really poor defense, sits at 3-5. They got to fix things quickly, but they also have to figure out where they're going to go long term, right? We know Joe Burrow's fantastic. We know he's unbelievable. It's true. Like, if he's there, they've got a chance to win titles if they can surround him with the right guys. And it looks like they're making a change with one of the players around him. It looks like one young playmaker in particular is about to get more playing time. I think it's a good sign for the Bengals. Let's pull up this report courtesy of SI.com. Bengals rookie wide receiver Germaine Burton got off to a slow start in his NFL career, but it sounds like his opportunity is coming. Just 3 days after catching a 41-yard pass against the Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, head coach Zach Taylor, and offensive coordinator Dan Pitcher hinted at an increased role for Burton ahead of their Week 9 contest with the Raiders. It was a good day for Germaine. I thought he obviously made the one big explosive play down the sideline, Pitcher said. If you just rip through the game and watch Germaine on every snap with a discerning eye, he did some good stuff. He created separation. That's really key there. We're going to keep working on the consistency element with Germaine, knowing that dependability and for the quarterback with receivers is critical. And I thought Sunday absolutely was a step in the right direction for him, and they're so happy with what he showed on Sunday. Joe Burrow has reportedly said a lot of good things about Burton as well. Burrow, who obviously keeps a lot of things close to his chest. He can be a little outspoken at times, but he's not a guy that says something unless he really wants the team to head in that direction. And it looks like, based on Pitcher's comments, based on Burrow's comments, that Germaine Burton is going to get a lot more playing time. Maybe the number 2 wide receiver in Cincinnati, maybe for the rest of this year and going forward with all the question marks involving Higgins. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Bengals fans in the comment section below, obviously heading into a game against the Raiders, you got to win this one. The Raiders have really struggled. They've been disappointing. They've sold off some assets. They may sell more. You got to get back in the win column. So let me know in the comment section below your prediction. Final score, Cincinnati, Vegas. Could go a few different ways here. I'm looking for Burrow to put up a lot of yards, but I'm curious what you guys have to say. Give us your prediction in the comment section. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this latest move by Cincinnati?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a really interesting move. As you say, the uncertainty that's going on with Higgins, I think that lights up, it gives the ability for someone to slide in here and potentially show what they got for the future of this team. Because if we all remember Higgins on that, contract, we've did a story about this way, way back in the day. The Bengals really don't use the franchise tag on players and keep them very, very often. I think in the story we said it's only ever happened once, and that was with a kicker. So a little bit different situation there. So I think looking for the future, Burton is a very bright spot. They got another young guy in Yosevas. He's been a really solid player, second year guy out of him. But when we look at Burton, when we break down the stats, to me, I think the more play time this guy gets, the better it's going to be for the Bengals, the more productive it's going to be, because this is a volume type of player to me. When you give him 1 to 2 snaps in a game, I don't think he gets a lot done. Because if you look here with Burton, his best game of the season before this game was in week 2 when he was on the field for 9 passing downs. He got 2 targets, 1 catch for 47 yards. Again, that explosiveness shows. The other games this season, 1 passing down in week 1, 3 passing downs in week 3, 2 passing downs in week 4, and 1 passing down in week 5. Fast forward this week, week 8, the next game that he really showed up in, 17 passing downs for Burton in this game. Again, another catch for another big-time explosive play, 41 yards by him. So I think this is a guy you need to give him a lot of bites at the apple, let him run a lot of routes. I think he can wear people down with that speed and athleticism. I think this is just a guy that is going to do really well for the Bengals the more time he is on the field. So with him showing that in 2 games this season, I think the Bengals, I think Joe Burrow are seeing this. I think this is going to be a really great move for the Bengals going forward, because this seems like Burton's wheelhouse. I think we're going to see what kind of player they were expecting him to be getting him in the 3rd round out of Alabama.
Yeah, and obviously don't want to give up on the season too early, but in the NFL world, you always have to be juggling how you're going to perform this year versus what is your future going to look like, right? We see teams all the time go hyper aggressive, no thought about the future, and they go throw everything all in just to try and get a perfect situation for their team. And 9 times out of 10, you look like the New York Jets, right? You don't want to be the Jets, right? That's usually the number one rule in football. You do not want to be, as a franchise, doing what the New York Jets are doing. So obviously, we don't want to sit there and say, hey, the Bengals should just throw out the young guys and see how they do. But you do want to figure out what's your team going to look like, because Higgins, in all actuality, is not going to be here next year. Unless he takes a ridiculously team-friendly deal, it probably just won't happen. Someone will give him an inordinate amount of money, in which case you say, hey, thanks for your service, man, but we got to move on. You got to have a guy ready in the wings to replace Higgins, right? You cannot go year to year hoping someone will replace him. We see a lot of teams throughout the NFL, they go from being a good team to taking a step back because they sit there and hope someone will step up. The Cowboys, for example, they let Tony Pollard, their running back, leave in free agency. They famously didn't go after a veteran guy. They just said, hey, listen, we'll just hope someone will step up. And they have the worst running game in the National Football League, right? You see a lot of teams do this at a lot of positions throughout the NFL, usually the bad teams. You want to avoid this if you're Cincinnati. And I think giving Burton more playing time is the perfect way to keep an eye towards the future and also give your offense a little bit of a spark, right? We know Joe Burrow's fantastic, but at times it's basically either Burrow or Jamar Chase magic and a bunch of guys scratching and clawing, right? How about throw a guy out there who's got some energy, who's got some spunk, some feistiness? Let's give this team a spark. Sometimes these young guys can come on the field and just give you a bolt of energy. I think it's a double whammy move here by the Bengals. It gives this team just a juice, just a jolt to hopefully get them on the right track by also at the same time setting themselves up for success in the future when Higgins likely leaves. Overall, I think this is a great sign for the Bengals and a smart move by their coaching staff and Burrow too, of course.